Okay, this was quarter 2, week 2. Make sure you're putting that at the top along with your name, and make sure that you're putting the day. Today we were doing Wednesday. And when you're doing this, you're putting the dates on there because on the quiz day I might say, hey, go back to Wednesday, number 5 for this one on the quiz. Number 1. A popular online shaving club charges $12 per month fee. Plus, there's that clue word. I'm underlining and circling clue words. $1.50 per safety razor you purchase. Write an equation for the cost Y based on the number of razors X you purchase. So if my equation has to be Y equals, it's $12 a month. Then it says plus. I have $12 plus $1.50 per safety razor, but I don't know the number of razors, so I make that in X. So that is how you do number 1. Number 2, circle the greatest common factor of 30x and 12x squared y cubed. Circle what they have in common. We have the 2, we have a 3, we have an x. So then it's 2 times 3 times x, which you then need to change to 2 times 3, which is 6. So your greatest common factor is 6x for both of those. What algebraic property is demonstrated in the equation below? When I do 5 times 8, then 5 times 4. 5 times 8 is 40, so it is the distributive. We've done that several times. 4 we have to solve. All of you better be writing this because it was not one that you had to do. Thank you. P plus 7 minus 5 equals a negative 10 minus 3p. Draw your line. On the left-hand side, I have 2 numbers that don't have letters that I can combine. I have a positive 7 and a negative 5. So what's a positive 7 and a negative 5? 2. So I'm left with P plus 2 equals a negative 10 minus 3p. I'm going to move my P. Because it's negative, I'm going to move it over to the left because I like to have my variables on the left-hand side. So I'm going to add 3p, add 3p. So 1p plus 3p is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. So I have 4p plus 2 equals a negative 10 because these canceled each other out. I want to leave my p alone, so I'm going to box it up. And I'm going to move my 2 over with my 10, so it's a minus 2, minus 2. So now I'm left with 4p equals, because these cancel each other out. Negative 10 and a negative 2 makes a negative 12. I'm still leaving p alone. This is like 4 times p, so I actually divide by 4, divide by 4, and p is a negative 3, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative.
I tried it, but I did not get it right.
Well, at least you tried. And then if you don't get it right, or if you didn't do it, you're making sure you're copying it all down. 5 says 3 softball players wrote down their batting average. Amy wrote 12 of 30. Sue wrote .34 repeated, and Kit wrote 9 out of 23, or 9/21. Who is the better hitter? In order to compare these, this is our chapter right now that we are doing. You have 2 options. I can either make them all fractions having a common denominator, or all what? Decimals. It's way easier to make all of these decimals. So that's why I'm going to choose to do that. So she wrote 12 out of 30. This is Amy. So Amy wrote 12 out of 30. So I need to take 12 divided by 30. 30 does not go into 12. Add a decimal, bring it up, add a 0. 30 goes into 120 four times, because 4 times 3 is 12, and you add that 0.
I didn't think about that.
So there is our decimal for Amy. Sue already wrote hers as a decimal, which was 0.34 repeated. Kit wrote hers as 9 out of 21. So I need to figure out Kit. 9 divided by 21. 21 does not go into 9. Put up a 0, add a decimal point. 21 goes into 90 4 times. 4 times 21 is 84. 6 left. Add a 0. Bring it down. 21 goes into 60 2 times. 2 times 21 is 42. 18 left. Now, I can actually stop. As TJ just said, I'm gonna keep going, but the reason why I can stop is because now I have enough in our place value. So I'm going to look at Amy's decimal, Sue's decimal, and Kit's decimal. Start in the tens place. Sue is 3, Amy's 4, Kit's 4. Sue is smaller, so she's out. Amy is a 4, Kit's a 4, so they're the same. So now we need to go to the hundredths place. If I go to the hundredths place, I've got a 2 here, but what would actually go here?
0.
Okay, so now I'm comparing a 0 to a 2.
The 2 is bigger.
2 is bigger, so Amy's out and Kit wins. So she had the better batting average. This one you need to be able to do because it will be on your quiz and on the test coming up. The quiz is on Monday. So for number 6, I have z divided by 4, or z over 4, plus 5 is greater than or equal to 5.5. So draw my line. Box up my z. I don't want to use him yet. I don't have any other z's to combine it to.
-4.
So now I can do what?
-5.
So I'm gonna subtract 5 from both sides. When you subtract 5, you better be lining up that decimal. If it's a whole number, you assume your decimal is right there. So I assume my decimal is right here. So what should I put in my placeholder?
0.
A 0. So 5 minus 0 is 5. Decimal point 0. So now I have z divided by 4 is greater than or equal to 5/10.
Oh, sorry. Forgot about that
So
one.
then I'm going to, if this is dividing, you're gonna do the opposite, which is multiply by 4. Multiply by 4. The 4's cross each other out.
2.0.
So z is greater than or equal to, what's 4 times 5? 20. Times, you're multiplying, 4 times 5 is 20. I have 1 decimal place, so I bring in 1 decimal place. Rewrite it, z is greater than or equal to 2 is my final answer. For number 7, it says solve and graph the inequality on the number line. So I have to take this problem and solve it first on my paper. So I have -12 is greater than g minus 17. Draw my line, box up the g. I need to move the 17 away from the g, so I'm going to add 17 to both sides. If one's negative and one's positive, so 17 minus 12 is
5.
keep the sign of the bigger number, and the bigger number is positive, so it stays positive. So 5 is greater than g, or I'm gonna rewrite it, g is less than 5. Then it says to graph it, so I'm going to make a number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then get some negatives. Negative 1, negative 2. If G is less than 5, I do not fill it in. I have an open circle, and then less than is going to point to the left or to the right? Left. Less is always left. Less is left. L and L. Okay? Great is right. I would fill in a circle if it was less than or equal to. That you use a filled in circle. But it's not less than or equal to. Number 8 says write an inequality that represents the graph below. We have a filled in circle. So, and the arrow is pointing to the left. So it's saying X is, if it's going to the left, that means it is less than, because it's filled in, it's also equal to, and then what number is it at? Negative 6. So it'd be X is less than or equal to negative 6.
I did a little.
Fix all, did you do negative 6 is greater than or equal to X?
Yeah. I did was negative 6 is greater than X.
But you have to have greater than or equal to. You have to have it equal to because it's filled in. Take pictures.